Let's talk about mains. People put a lot of pride into the characters they main in any fighting game. People can sometimes see a part of themselves in their character and use them as part of their identity, with things like having them as their profile picture, putting them on their arcade sticks, or buying an accurately sized body pillow of their favorite character to snuggle with at night to keep the loneliness from taking hold. However, the more you play these games, the more you begin to notice similarities between people who play specific characters. It's more than just patterns in playstyle, combo routes, Oki setups, and pressure sequences. You begin to notice things in the ways the players act, the things they say, even the way they think about situations. You notice these things so much that you begin to judge players entirely by the character that they play in the game. You could say the characters have developed a stereotype.
Holy shit, it's like the title of the video! How'd he do it?
Stereotypes are basically oversimplified images that you have about people based on various aspects of them. While it's normally a bad thing when in the context of a real world, we're going to apply it to video game characters because it's funny and none of you are going to get mad, right? We do need to get some disclaimers out of the way before starting the video, however. Stereotypes are oversimplified for a reason. While it's possible that the things that I say in this video apply to you, it's also extremely possible that they don't apply to you at all. So don't take it seriously if it seems like I'm being rude. That being said, please don't use any of the things I say in this video to be an asshole to anyone. It's just a bit of fun, and I'm basically going to roast everyone who plays my favorite game. This doesn't give you an excuse to be rude on the internet. Some of you may also notice that this is basically the Soundsmith series, but it's about Strive instead of Team Fortress 2, and to that I say, don't worry about it. Now, I think it's about time that we get started because this video is already a week late, so let's do this. There's a group of characters that I generally refer to as the DK crew, because everyone who plays them is an absolute fucking gorilla. They'll run at you with everything they have, mashing while you're plus, using meters and supers and safe DPs to make sure that they never have to block or play defense at all. Depending on your political beliefs, the amount of gorillas in the game will vary wildly. However, I'm keeping it to 3, who I believe are the most primal examples of absolute batshit players you'll ever find in this game. Guess in the comments section now which characters you think they are, and let me know if you get it right over on my stream after the video. Anyway, these 3 gorillas have different factors that go into them, but the first one is the most obvious type. Soul is the type of gorilla that wants one thing in this world, and it's fucking disgusting. Soul players love big fucking numbers. When they get 50% of your HP off of a free frame kick, the neurons in their brain activate. They will lab out nothing but combos just so that they can try and find Touch of Death on every character, and they exclusively go for them in matches no matter what it takes. They probably have a bit of paper taped to their monitor next to where the damage value is in trading mode. There's just a bunch of zeros to make the number bigger. Because of their borderline obsession with taking as much damage off as you as they can, they generally have no idea how to play defense, so once you stop them from hitting you, they'll probably just fold like a chair.
This is Ryu. From Streets.
There's something that I tell everyone when they begin to struggle against Kai, and that is that Kai is the most honest reflection of the person playing him in the entire game. By the nature of him being the purest Shoto of all gaming, he's able to play in a wide variety of ways, so this stereotype is actually kind of a scale. On the left side, we have the most boring person you ever meet. They play grounded neutral with their long-reaching buttons, mainly going for whiff punishes with far slash, making sure they hit confirm into every attack and taking as few risks as possible. The shock state is literally never used once in the entire match because you can mash 5p out of Fujirak and we can't be taking that risk here. The person probably has a 9-to-5 dead-end job in an office, watch some sort of sport but only roots for their local team, goes to meet their mates on a Friday evening for 2 to 3 beers before going home and getting a good 9 hours of sleep. It's fine, it works, and if you live like that, then you're doing pretty well for yourself, but come on, it gets pretty boring after a while, right? Then, on the other end of the scale, you've got the guys who's snorting horse tranquilizer in the bathroom. These kind of guys want to be a gorilla, but for some reason they also really want a fireball. Risk? What's that? We go in at every opportunity, brothers. We act like they constantly got shock state on them. Are we negative? No the fuck we're not, we're balling. Did you know that Stun Dipper comes out in 5 frames? No? Well, now you do, because it's the best reversal in the fucking game! Woo! What are you if you're between these two extremes? A simp.
Rip and tear until it is done.
Now, I bet that some of you have probably guessed that this character was easily one of the 3 gorillas. It's May! All they do is spam Totsugeki, eat hot chip, and complain on Twitter. However, I am here to tell you that you have been tricked! baited, bamboozled, cocked. Mei players are not just gorillas roaming the jungle looking for their prey. No. They're something much worse. They're literally the fucking devil. The moment someone picks Mei, you know that they're not human, as no mere mortal would ever subject another to such cruel torture. What man would make his fellow brethren deal with disjointed hitboxes, tiny hurt boxes, touch of death anti-air combos, RPS situations on block, burst bait combos off of a dust, and worst of all, that wretched voice? Mei players come from a deeper place than the jungle. They want nothing more than for you to suffer and cry at their hands, because they are God and this is their domain. Forgo the path of the tear lift and pray to the one true God, for there is no salvation for you, mortal. Your bracket run ends here, mere human, for you face the full wrath of an actual demon. And may God have mercy on your soul if they install the no shoes mod. Now, you may hear all of this and think that they're good at the game, and you have once again been bamboozled. Mei players use this strategy of, my enemy is pissed off, they literally don't have enough brain function left to deal with my bullshit, so they will try everything in their power to piss you off, so you run into the dolphin, and it works. But if you keep your cool mental, you'll probably be fine. Also, if you do play with the no shoes mod, you're sick and you need to get help.
Well, at least our schools are not a shooting gallery, mate!
Now, from my personal experience, most Axl players are generally pretty cool, but I don't want to have a character that has a positive stereotype while I'm ripping into everyone else, especially when I have to do it to my own character. So, what else have we got? Well, once you pin an Axl down, you generally see that they start making really dumb decisions, and that's because they're absolutely terrified of any kind of confrontation. Kind of like their character, they'll try to avoid dealing with stuff instead of actually just getting it done. This probably means that they have a laundry chair somewhere in their house, and their PC setup looks like a landfill of leftover takeaway and soda. Because of this, they're also probably not very picky when it comes to a lot of things. Having a diet that consists entirely of chicken nuggets and takeaway pizza. How are they in the game? Well, they play as zoner, so they generally focus on moving back and creating as much space as possible, but they're lacking one major component that you need to play as zoner correctly. They're not very observant. It takes most Axl players a while to break bad habits when they see someone doing something. They just don't adapt quickly enough in order to stop them, and it causes them to get into situations they hate and makes them panic. You can generally tell if an Axl is like this as they end up using snail on block a lot, because they're not trying to hit confirm, they're just trying to get you off of them. Playing dedicated zoners also means that you're absolutely maidenless, so they're probably pretty lonely and rely on their life-size Minazuni body pillow just to have some form of companionship. Also, if they play with a British voice, they're insane and need to be treated immediately.
And this is to go even further beyond!
Chipp players have two categories they can fall into. You're either a massive weeb, or you're on something. This is pretty obvious. Like, they're playing a ninja who speaks broken Japanese, throws shurikens, and yells out the names of his move whenever he does them. These players most definitely believe they're the protagonist of a shonen anime and have internal monologues in their brain whenever they're fighting someone. They're probably like, this person is strong. They've been blocking my mix-ups ever since we started playing. How is this possible? No one up until this point has been able to block the ground-to-air Alpha Blade and successfully punish it. I'm gonna have to go all out. I'll have to use my secret technique. I'll have to use the grounded Alpha Blade wall mix. The other kind of Chipp players are, well, they're pretty fucking fast. Chipp is obviously a very heavy rushdown and mix-up character that relies on hitting you with stuff that you never saw coming, and these players fully embody this type of style. They're what the weaves wish they were like, hitting you with mix-ups and resets that you never saw coming. However, they're pretty emotional. While the weave can sometimes rally back because they believe they're getting a Zenkai boost or fucking whatever, these Chipps are more likely to throw some kind of peripheral at the wall and yell profanities at you. Oh look, I got a message from one of them now.
Come down, Snubby Hospitality. I'll come out my house and I'll break your fucking legs, you little prick.
Well, he seems like a lovely chap. But what if you're in the middle of the scale? Who said there was a scale? You're either one or the other. Pick your poison.
Oh, everybody's hype, huh? And everybody's like, oh, sick pop buster, make some noise. It's BGs. BGs.
Oh man, did you see that command grab? Oh, I love command grabs. They're my favorite. That's you. That's what you sound like. I know you think it's cool, but it's not. Grow up. Pop players are the kind of person that has to have everything go their way. Talking to them in a conversation isn't as much like talking to a brick wall as it is like they just won't shut up about whatever they want to talk about. Are you trying to talk? Nah, shut your mouth real quick. I'm not done. It's like they're trying to overload you with information so you just give up and sit there going along with whatever they want. They'll get you being like, yeah, sure, Pop is the cool, I guess. Yeah, I guess Heavenly is one of the best supers in the game. Sure, whatever, dude. Yeah, man, grapplers definitely are the definitive archetype, huh? Next thing you know, they're shipping you off to a country you've never been to in order to meet a bunch of like-minded individuals to partake in weird activities to worship the grappler gods. And it's at this point you realize, oh, fuck, this is a cult, isn't it? Normally what happens at this point is people just accept it's too late and go along with it. Going back to a party and telling others about how cool the command grabs are and how much they love them until they start agreeing with them, and then it's a never-ending cycle in order to pray to the Lord of Bustin until one day each person on Earth knows how to do the GG motion input. The future is inevitable. All hail the Potemkin god or something, I don't really know. How do you stop this from happening? This isn't a rhetorical question, please. They know where I live. They're coming for me. Help! Faust is arguably the worst character in the game. So, of course, he attracts a lot of low-tier players that you can see across different games with the attempts of using things like the fabled option select to get out of having their ego bruised. But Faust players generally have another attribute that is unique amongst the low-tier players of the game. Faust players believe in their character so much that they don't give a fuck. Now, obviously, a lot of low-tier players can be seen as believers, but Faust players are a step above that. While other low-tier players will use the fact that their character is bad to make excuses for things, these players use the fact that no one plays their character to mess with you. Talk to any good Faust players about their character and you will learn so much about the character that you didn't know because they have figured out nearly every little intricacy with him. Does this mean that they get shit done with their character? No. Like, at the end of the day, it's still Faust, the guy who can't convert off of stray hits, the guy whose combos barely do any damage, the guy whose items can help the opponent more than they help himself, the guy who feels like bits of other characters but just so much weaker that at the end of the day, you'd be smart just to play literally anyone else. They're believers, but they're kind of deluded in their beliefs. Is that a bad thing? No, unless they start a cult, but most of the players are putting so much effort for a fraction of the results that other players are getting, and if you do that without realizing it, you're probably a bit of an idiot. Millia players want nothing more in this world than to be playing Stardew Valley. However, they didn't realize they accidentally booted up Guilty Gear Strive. The less you respond to the situations they put you in, the better for them. Neutral to them is the worst part of the game because you get to move your character and respond to their options, and that's not what they want. No, 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 no. You need to sit there and eat the mix, and if you don't, I'm going to cry! Please don't block the overhead! It's generally a thing that people say about a lot of different characters, but Millia easily has it the worst. Did you lose neutral once? Well, I hope you're prepared to be put on Twitter with a caption like, "I'm so sick, reply with F if you got hit with the mix," and she just kinda runs you over. Also, Millia players love their mix-ups so much that they will just drop combos to go for the mix. I'm sure some of you are like, that's just a reset, Lumfow. And the resets aren't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the enemy player being close to death, where finishing the combo into a super would definitely kill with a wall break, and they just go for another reset. Like, what are you doing? You could have killed me! Head literally empty. Nothing but turnip planting. Don't get me wrong, the mix is cool and absolutely ridiculous to deal with, but you couldn't let me play the game, you know? I guess if your opponent never gets the chance to play the game, you never need to learn how to defend, right? Every game has a character that is definitely the hardest character to play for any given reason. Maybe that kid is more complicated than everyone else, maybe they require mastery of specific skills that other characters don't need mastery of, or maybe they just require more effort for something other characters get for way less. These harder characters tend to attract a very specific type of player, the person who thinks they're just better than everyone else. Zato is Strive's hardest character. Being a negative edge puppet character, you need to learn specific skills just for Zato that you don't need with any other character. Negative edge is where a move comes out when you let go of the button. Puppet means that he controls a second character on the screen, the second character being your boy Eddie. Add this with low HP, meaning that any mistake can lead to a game loss, and the majority of people kind of get turned away from this character, unless you believe you're the sickest motherfucker on the face of the planet. And most of the time, they're just not. Like, apart from the obvious exceptions, the majority of Zato players are nowhere near taking the character to the level they can play them to, but good god, do they sure act like it. When they play, they're like, I'm the smartest player in this fucking game. No one can beat me. I'm the alpha. I'm unstoppable. Just give up, loser. You'll never beat me. And when they lose this game is bullshit. What the fuck? I have to do so much more than this person. Fuck Faust. We should ban Faust. It's just how it works for hard characters, unfortunately. If you play Zato, maybe knock your ego down a peg. Or 2. Or 5. And if you find a chill Zato main, then run.
This is how you eat a Big Mac.
You have a foot fetish. Now that we have that out of the way, RAM players hate you, your character, the way you play, your pets, your drip, your controller choice, your height, and everything you like. Fuck you. RAM players not only do not want to interact with you, they just don't want you to be in the fucking game at this point. You don't get to play neutral. You don't get to play offense. You don't get to play defense. Fuck you. Go straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Suck my dick. While not inherently evil like mains are, RAM players are just little balls of hate that are fed up of everyone complaining about their character and how hard the matchups are without taking any time to actually learn how to deal with her. So they just play into it. They're gonna spam fast slash and jump S because you both know that you can't deal with it. Did she get you in the corner? Well, they're gonna tell you to let go of your controller because we both know you're not getting out. Does she have 50 meter? Come on, dude, you're gonna get hit with a reversal super. Just walk up and let her hit it. You piece of shit, you fucking suck, you know that. Maybe they'd all be a little less grumpy if everyone learned the damn matchup every once in a while and stop complaining about it on Twitter.com. But I also don't think they realize that everyone complains about every other character without knowing the matchup. The only exception to this rule is if they call her Whamweeful, in which case they're just an ego.
Bet, check, turn. Fuck! Going all in. It's a gamble. Life's a gamble.
Welcome to the second king of the Gorilla Kingdom, Leo Whitefang. Let's be real, y'all saw this one coming. Leo players are special because not only is there zero force going on in that head of theirs, but there's something that Leo players love more than not thinking and evading their taxes. Leo players are massive gamblers and play like they need to be cut off. Fighting games generally have situations where players are able to gamble a little bit in order to get more out of a situation, with good players constantly taking in as much information as they can in order to evaluate the risk versus the reward of a decision. Leo players, however, only ever look at the reward of the situation. So, you're telling me if I flash kick during this string, I'm not only going to take 1/6 of your HP, but I'm going to be able to get into back turn and run unseeable mix that my opponent will definitely get hit by. Bro, how can I afford not to? It's perfect. There's literally zero downside. Fuck yeah, here we go. Not good. No gamble is too big for a Leo. They probably frequent r/Wall Street bets and just put a bunch of money on whatever the first thing they see is. This is of course why they're all broke as fuck. It's probably good that Strive is their game of choice because if they ever somehow ended up in a casino, they might come back missing a couple of fingers due to the debts that they owe. If you're going to evil with a Leo player, keep a close eye on them.
A foolish samurai warrior wielding a shape-shifting master.
We've talked on the channel before about the different types of fighting game players, and Nago players are 100% the most heart-based players I've ever seen. While Leos are easily the gambling addicts, Nago players are more just the kind of people that make you go, wait, what? Why did you do that? That makes no sense! And most of the time, it works. It works way better than it has any right to. The open-endedness of Nago kits means that these players get extremely creative with their baits and callouts. It feels like these guys are going to bait your burst even if it makes no sense to go for a bait there. It's not uncommon for Nago players to sometimes just stare at you in neutral, waiting for you to do an option that they've hard committed to dealing with. However, them being the purest embodiment of heart players just lead to one very specific weakness. They're kind of dumb. While their reads and callouts do work, if someone is able to just not do what they expect, they tend to throw the games really easily. This could be by putting them in a bad situation or just popping blood rage when they don't want to. Because of this, when you're the one in the Nago's head, you probably have a really easy time dealing with them, and we all know getting into their head is the hard part. They also probably hate looking stuff up. They just want to do funny strings and hit you with weird shit. They don't want to know other characters' frame data. Is like, what are you talking about, dude? The fuck is a plus on block, bro? Just play the damn game. They can be outsmarted, but it's generally pretty hard to outsmart someone who isn't thinking. Geo is an interesting character, to say the least. Being the easiest character in the game to pick up and generally considered high tier by the majority of people in the community, you tend to have two different types of Geo players. You have people taking her as a dedicated secondary for their character's bad matchups, or just matchups that they don't want to play, and then you have the Geo mains who just play Geo. There isn't too much to say about the first person who takes them as a secondary. There's a good chance that they have good reasons for picking Geo into one of their bad matchups and doesn't think much past that, but there's also a very high chance that they've seen a bunch of pro players pick her up recently and just did a monkey see, monkey do and pick her up as their secondary, even though they have no idea what makes her so powerful. And then you have the mains. Oh boy. So, most Geo mains are just kind of addicted to the character at this point. From the mobility she provides to the ridiculous normals and the insane pressure game, it means that she has a very even matchup spread and can go toe-to-toe with everyone on the roster. The idea of having a bad matchup is pretty laughable, and that makes switching to a different character kind of terrifying for them. Yeah, I could learn another character, but Geo has a fine matchup against them, so what's the point? And while they will all tell you this, we all know that's not the reason we started playing Geo. It's just a nice feature. You started playing Geo because she's hot as fuck, man. Like, come on. You might like Hooters wings, but it ain't what got you in the door, my guy. Don't lie to me. I made a whole ass video about this. I know, okay, one of the stereotypes had to be horny. Get off my ass!
Bazinga.
Ladies and gentlemen, feast your eyes upon the final Gorilla King, Anji Mito. Anji is unique amongst the other Gorilla Kings, as while Leo and Sol are pretty universally agreed to be high or even top tier, Anji is bad. He of course still gets to be one of the pillars of the Gorilla Kingdom due to the fact that people who play him can't help themselves from throwing rock at every opportunity, but that doesn't mean that they do it as well as the other rock throwers in the tribe. This does mean they're pretty resilient though, and if you talk to any Anji main, you'll find that they all have something in common. They 100% believe they can beat you, and they don't think it'll even be close. While Faust mains will happily tell you everything about the character and the matchup you're playing, with all of its fun little quirks and interactions, Anji players tend to laugh at you and say, you should just learn the matchup, when you ask them for advice. They're also absolutely the kind of person who tells you how to deal with something, but then instantly sets the situation back up and beats the option they told you to do because they're trying to win. Does this mean they're assholes? No? I mean, it seems like it, but most of the time, this is generally a front because they know deep down, oh sweet Jesus, I could be playing such a better character right now, oh god. This side becomes extremely apparent when they're losing, and they'll probably make disapproving noises and say things like, of course, when you hit them and deal with their pressure. They tell you to deal with the matchup because Anji players hate losing more than anything else. And to that I say, just take the L, bro, it's not that hard. Oh man, I wonder what this one's going to be. I wonder what this one is going to be. I really wonder what this one is going to be. If you play Ino, you're a massive bottom. I feel like this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. She literally says, be my bottom bitch, when she lands a successful throw. Like, what else do you want me to say? Well, I can't have people realizing that I'm just gonna sum Ino up in one line, so, I guess I gotta find a way to drag this out to about 300 words, like the rest of them. Like, if you're an Eno player, you must have seen this coming. Yeah, it's low-hanging fruit, but in all fairness, you guys did it to yourselves. Just from the way she looks in the game, I'm sure you were begging her to hit you with an unreactable overhead that just so happens to involve her boot connecting with your face. In terms of things in the game, most of the time Eno players are basically just 100% in on offense, but that isn't really their fault. The character's neutral and defense doesn't allow them to have any other kind of playstyle apart from running mix constantly. That's really about it for them in-game. Fuck, dude, I don't know how many times you want me to say you're horny. You've probably got a folder on your PC labeled homework and it's filled with pictures of your main with questionable mods installed. You probably go to sleep at night listening to death sounds on YouTube or something. I don't know, man. How close are we to filling out this section? Like, 5 more words. Okay, you're probably also maidenless.
In this behemoth typhoon. In this behemoth typhoon. In this behemoth.
Now, if I were to ask you where you think Goldlewis sits on the tier list, where would you say? If you said anything below upper mid-tier or lower high-tier, they've got you and they've run away with the tournament set. Goldlewis players have mastered the art of downplaying their character. They will look you in the eyes and tell you their character is easily the worst one in the game. Yeah, man, Goldlewis can't do anything in this matchup because he has no mobility tools or full screen options to deal with that character's pressure. They just run over to him and he has literally 0 options in these situations. There's nothing he can do. It's such a shame, really. They need to give him faster movement speed and an air dash and a full screen projectile. Betty anti-airs, a way to close the gap effectively, like Testament's teleport. Stuff like that would make the character C tier at best. Gregory, I'm fucking dying! Goldlewis is a character whose strengths are really strong, but his weaknesses are easily defined and apparent. And that's what makes him perfectly balanced. No, seriously, Goldlewis is fine. The reason people think that Goldlewis is bad is because he has a hard time dealing with some matchups, and 2 of them happen to be really good characters. But if you talk to a Goldlewis player, they make you think that he's worse than Faust. They'll try to tell you that he can't do anything in any situation while ignoring the fact that he's one of the only characters with such an oppressive win condition that the moment he gets it in a match, the match is basically over. Like, have you ever actually been in the corner against a good Goldlewis? Even with meter, that shit feels impossible to deal with. And that's how it should be. He's balanced, and that's good.
I just want to feel like
shit. Now, I am of the firm belief that Jacko could have been one of the coolest DLC characters that we got in Season 1, but they were a bit too much for me to learn at the time with my job and YouTube balance, so I just put her on the back burner. The next time I see Jacko, you'll boulder down to the most boring playstyle I could have ever seen, and worst of all, you're all depressed about it. Jacko players are the biggest doomers in the game right now, and it's so funny, because y'all did this to yourself. Due to Jacko being an unpopular character, you'll see people saying things like, yeah, I just didn't know the matchup. Or, yeah, this character is just slept on so hard. They're secretly top tier. Or, why the fuck do you play Jacko? Just go and play a normal character, weirdo. To downplay their loss. When this happens, you have one of 2 options. Shrug it off, or cry about it. Universally, Jacko players seem to cry about it, and honestly, it's pretty funny. Like, just be like the Anji main, guys. It's not that big of a deal. You won. Why do you care? You guys need to get off Twitter and spend some more time actually playing people. And if you're one of the people complaining, learn the matchup, my guy. Come on. I will admit, it's definitely fun seeing them cry as they just agreed that the best way to set up your minions is to knock someone down, put a minion up, and run away to let the minion do all the work. So, if you ask me, they kind of deserve a bit of the hate they're getting. To the extent they're getting it? No, but come on, you gotta admit she's a little bullshit.
I blew up Malaysia.
Due to Chaos being the best character in the game right now, you get the kind of person you see in every fighting game playing them. The tier whore. This person cares about literally nothing apart from winning, and they're going to get that win. Are you not having a good time? Good! Keep it that way. You deserve to suffer. Just roll over and give me the win, my guy. Due to how Chaos's game plan works, they also need to be control of the match at literally every single point of the game, or else they'll get annoyed at you. If they do lose control, then you bet their ass they're gonna go for every panic option they have at their disposal. AKA YRC or mashing 2P, because Chaos has literally 0 defensive options when he's in a block string or on wake up. Yet due to the majority of people playing him simply going for the win, once you get past the cheap stuff they've labbed out, they're kind of fucked and scramble easily with no way to deal with your pressure. If I'm gonna be honest, It's pretty funny watching them scramble to try and figure out how they should play defense. Since they have such an obvious flaw in their strategy, knowing the matchup means that they'll fold really quickly, and you'll get a free win and a very pissed off Chaos main at the other end of the setup. Their need to win also probably extends to them as a person. They're more likely to cut you off mid-sentence or just say things like, yeah, well, you're wrong, when you try to add to a conversation. It's like they need to be in control of literally everything to the point where it's suffocating. And then you have a Romola who's just a nice cow lady. You're either an asshole or a cow. Pick your poison.
Tatami guys! Tatami guys! Tatami guys!
Bro, you gotta understand. I've been playing Baiken since the first Guilty Gear on the PlayStation 1, my dude. Missing Link was my shit. I played that game all the time. I'm a master of plus R, dude, alright? I played Baiken in that game so much. I won any competition I entered with that character. I was feared, respected, loved. People feared how much they loved me, and they respected me because of that. I was the best Baiken main in the entirety of Xrd, alright? I would have won every Evo if I was able to actually go, but of course, this was back when I got a bruise on my left toe, so I couldn't leave the country. I'm not just a Baiken main, alright? I'm the Baiken main. I would storm in the beaches of Normandy, and I was already made in Baiken, my dude. I was there with Pluto, talking philosophy and Baiken setups, my guy. I was talking with Jesus at the Last Supper about my sick TK Yosan Sen mix, my bro. The second event after the Big Bang was that I started playing Baiken, and I've literally played 0 characters ever since then. I am the biggest Baiken main you could ever meet. I know the names of all of her moves, alright? You got Tatami Gaish, love that move. Classic move. The way she puts out the Tatami man, oh, perfect. You got the Yosan Sen, classic move, my bro. Absolute classic. Can't have Baiken without the Yosan Sen. You got Kabari, another classic. One absolutely amazing hookshot, my dude. Look, I got all the moves. I know everything. I do have one question, though. What are the controls? Because I've never played this game in my entire fucking life.
Caitlyn from League of Legends?
Testament is the newest Strive character. They've been out for over a month, so there has to be some sort of stereotype that's developed around the people that are playing them, right? Well, honestly, after like the first week of Testament being out, the majority of players just kind of dropped them and went to play someone else, which is kind of sad, but also understandable. They're not a bad character, they're perfectly viable, and their matchups are generally pretty even from what I know, but there's just nothing really special. Like, most of the things Tess can do, it seems that Ram could do stronger and in a less gimmicky way. Right now, the two types of people playing Testament are the people who believe that there is something there, and they just need to keep grinding to find it, and just crazy lab monsters farming for Twitter clips and engagement. There's a pretty big overlap in that community, as people who believe that they can find something that defines Testament spend a lot of time in the lab, and the lab monsters are going crazy on Testament generally believe that their time investment is going to be worth it in the long run, so they have a nice cooperative relationship with each other, you know? It's nice to see the community for a character coming together to try and find something to propel the character that they have an attachment to up the tier list and into relevancy. And if we're honest, that's all anyone playing any character is trying to do, right? We all have our own reasons for being drawn to a specific character, and we want them to be powerful and viable on the competitive stage, so we can see someone who's mastered our character absolutely demolish everyone in their sight. While it's all fun and games to poke fun at each other and say people who play a specific character are like this, at the end of the day, we're all playing this game because we love it, and we love the characters that we play. While we do want to downplay a lot of the time because we want our achievements to be seen as our own and not our characters, fighting game players generally have a strong connection with the character that they play. Generally more than any other genre of games, because the experiences we share with the characters are deep and personal. They're gateways on how we're able to express ourselves in a battle, and ways for us to dominate our enemies, and that makes them important to us. If you feel upset about what your stereotype was, I hope you realize that it was a joke. Mostly. And we're just trying to have a bit of fun. Besides, there's one stereotype I missed. Strive players are, generally, really cool people. I'm so happy to play this game with you all. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the future.